All right. You guys see the show?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna just go through it, and later on we're gonna pause and go to different things. So this is Ryan's work.
And this is a slideshow part of the
Yeah,
slideshow is Ryan's work and Body Beautiful is Judy's.
correct.
This is so cool.
It is. It's really fun. So these are all photographs, and then I've collaged and painted and scribbled and all sorts of things over the top of them. There's actually a lot of layers in all of the photographs. So the photograph subject, the central subject, is the artwork that I've created, and then I'm standing nude in front of my artwork, and then I have digitally painted my body, and then I have printed the photographs, and then on top of the printed photographs, I've drawn and scribbled and done more things, and then glued a bunch of shit on top of it.
Awesome.
So the slides all actually came from my grandparents. One of their COVID projects was cleaning out their slide collection that my grandfather had taken since I was a kid. And so I have literally a gigantic box of junk slides that he decided that were not good enough to keep any longer. And I've been playing with them as media material. And it's fun to get the different effects. Slides are a really interesting thing. And a lot of them, like that one that you just saw there, I'm using the slide as as a frame, right? The slide frame to focus on a photo. But now it's Judy's turn.
Well, that was quick.
I just
My
I just
God.
for a moment. So I'm gonna start now. So now this is Judy's turn, and we're gonna go back. I mean,
No, of course.
I really don't have as much to say as Ryan. It's called Body Beautiful, and I started out shooting dance, and I've always loved capturing form and motion. This guy right here, this shot is one of my all-time favorites. He was an amazing man. These next three are a trio from a shoot years back, and I went kicking and screaming into the digital age. So to find these and re-edit them and make them look more like sketches and more artsy has been so much fun. And then we come to my favorite, pretty much straight black and white.
That's a great shot.
Thank you, Candace.
Love it. Wow.
That one's a classic. I love that one. This one's fun. This was a dancer, and she turned, I've known her for years, since the early 80s. She turned 50 and wanted to commemorate being 50 and still having a rockin' body that could move like she did when she was 20.
So lovely.
Thank you. And here we go, combining the dance with, you know, what else I do naked.
My hero.
That was the same dancer. This guy I met at a restaurant / bar where I had work shown, and he was a busboy, and he had a classic Roman nose. His profile was insane. So we came in to do a shoot because I started to work on a special fine art portrait series, and he was super young, and really malleable and very open to direction. And I got so many amazing shots of him. In fact, I don't know if you can see that one next to Descent in the background where he's in a back bend and the hands are up. That's another one of his.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun to work with him. It really was. It's one of my favorite things is seeing something in people that they have no idea even exists in them, and then bringing it out. And
You're very good at that.
oh, thank you. It's fun. It's really fun.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Gorgeous.
we just wait till Ryan comes back, and then let me go to the next. And I'm not sure which one he wants to talk more. Oh, Ryan, there you are. Just
Yeah, I'm still in the room.
okay. Just let me know which one you want to talk a little bit more about it, and then I just go next, and or we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
do.
I don't I like the I'll just talk about a few of them and then we can move on. They're
Okay.
all so when Connie and Eugene asked to be part of the show, I wanted to make something special for them. And so this all was really made in particular for this show.
Wow.
Um, the and it was a lot of fun. It was usually I spend a lot more time and am very precious with things. And with this, I wanted to be a lot more playful and fun. And so it doesn't quite have my normal torturous thought process behind it. But like this one, for instance, is just a great example of the entire set. So I tried to make sure that every piece had a slide or a slide frame inside of it. And then this one, I thought, it's a little fun because the image of the baby there, that's actually me. So this is like 1980, and but the fun thing about all of these, and let me see if I can pull that one, is that, so what doesn't come across is that in some cases I played with the actual slide material, right? So it's glued in one part, but you have this kind of peekaboo
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
pieces, right? Which is really fun. So there's a little bit of like a tactile nature behind some of them. But really, it's all like the whole show was just what are the materials I have on hand? What are things I can play with? One of the rules was that just that Connie and Eugene had asked for was that the images be the same size. And so I started to think about what I had available, and I had these photographs printed, and they were just sitting there not doing anything. And so I decided to start playing with them and having fun. Um, let's see, what's one
I'm just advancing here a little bit to Ryan.
yeah. So like on this one, for instance, there's oh, that's another really fun thing about this set is so this paper here, this black paper with the gold pattern on it, that starburst pattern on it, that's actually the scrap from the paper that is featured in that artwork that's behind me. And so that artwork is a very formal, larger collage piece, and I'm using the same materials. So it's all the remnants and the scraps and the pieces from the artwork that is in the photographs as well. Yeah. I mean, like I have these nerdy like internal story dialogues that unless you're actually me, you're never gonna know or quite grasp. And I find that entirely amusing and wonderful, and hope that the rest of you tolerate it.
I love it.
But yeah, the whole thing was fun, and it's just like whatever was going on in my mind at the time. This one is just a snippet of a song lyric written over and over and over again, with some play and patterning on it. But yeah, they're all like, to me, they're all kind of fun, and the just another iteration. Like I keep calling this my art inception project. This whole idea that I've created artwork, and then I'm photographing myself with the artwork, and then I'm doing post work with the photographs of the artwork, and now I'm doing post work of the photographs of the artwork. And it's just like this really like like stupid joke, I think, in many ways.
I think it's awesome.
Which I don't know is necessarily a good thing. I mean, right? Like, isn't it, but you know, but so part of it is like this elitist, snobby, like I'm an artist and haha, only I understand what I'm making. But another part of it is I really do think about like queerness and queer art history and where queer thinking is going. And so for a big part of me, this ties back to kitsch, to queer kitsch, which is why they're kind of very loud and aggressive, why I've purposefully overfilled the spaces on all of the canvases, right? To call back to that older style of gay kitsch that was popular in like the 60s and 70s. And then I thought that the slides were a really fun reflection of that because they are literally from the 60s and 70s. A handful of them were printed in the early 80s, but most of them are from the 60s and 70s. A few of them are actually dated. Wherever there was an inscription or something like that, I've tried to preserve that as part of the elements of the work. But it's also just, you know, been a fun experiment in playfulness and joy and like, look at my cute butt and all of those kind of
And your short hair.
Yes, I had my short hair. I mean, this was just 2 years ago, which is crazy to think about. I keep joking that everybody that hasn't seen me in a couple months, I'm gonna come out and they're gonna be like, "What happened?"
You're actually primed for a photo shoot with me, just as you are right now.
No, I love it. I need to lose a little of my COVID weight, but yes.
I'm in a club. Oh,
Hi,
look, hi, Melissa.
It's a
Hey.
personal thing.
I'm sorry, Ryan.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Well, thank you. And thank you guys, Connie and Eugene, for this. I think it's really fun and really daring for you to be playing in this kind of virtual space, but smart at the same time. So
Yeah, I have to say too with Ryan, Ryan, like Eugene said before, he's the owner of or the main the tag gallery in Wilshire Boulevard, a big gallery, and it's just a beautiful space, and also Ryan's work, like right now, I mean, like seriously, like what he said, if you go there, it has so many layers to it. So if you actually see it in person, you can see all the layers they come with it and how it's placed, and it's just really, really beautiful art. I met Ryan like a while ago. It was probably a year ago, I think, when you did.
it was, my youth was a year ago. It was November in 19.
I know. So he was curating a show with Eugene, and it was my youth thing. And then so I was lucky to be selected to show in this show. But we met and we connected as friends too. But I was also amazed about the variety of his art, actually, as a virtual artist, what he did. And he did a performance art this night too, and I was like, this dude is crazy, and I just love it. Seriously, I had so much fun. I was like, finally there's somebody who's alive. That's what I was thinking this night. I was like, this guy is alive, he just does it, and it's like there's no excuse. He just does it, and it's just, he's queer and he's just beautiful, you know. And I was really happy that I met you. Seriously, I'm really
Thank you. I
Oh,
love
likewise.
all of that. My goal that night was to have the gayest party of the year, and I think we succeeded.
Well, we can do that too. A lot of people who don't know Ryan's work, what I like is we both use mythology in our work, but of course in very different ways because I'm an abstract artist. But there's a lot of mythological as well as the queer themes in Ryan's work too.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, the good thing is too, the gallery is open, so you guys actually they have really nice exhibit right now, and it changes, and you can make appointments to go there, so you don't have to be afraid to be like with 1,000 people there or whatever. But
Yeah, and we're open regular hours too, so you don't even have to make an appointment. And it's,
okay,
I mean, it's such a big space.
it is really
Our limit is 20 people, which is 11% of our actual capacity. So we're well under what the county guidelines are. And
it was so huge too. I mean, there's practically no way you, and the rooms.
and we haven't had 20 people in the space at one time at all.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, not without a party. I miss my parties.
Oh,
I miss my parties and all my friends with wine.
Well, I'm excited. I want to come take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, if any of you do stop by, these are all here in one of my my cubbies here in my studio, so I can pull them out.
Awesome.
And I want to remind you guys, everything is up for sale. So you can buy those pieces. They're like how they're like 10 by 10s, yeah?
Yeah, these are all 10 by 10 photo prints with collage material on top. None of them are framed. You know, they're just kind of as they are right now. But yeah, and I think they're $150. A steal.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, I mean, like all these papers, they're all my favorite. They like, and literally just the scraps from everything that I've been using to make things. I have a, you know, just a big box full of junk paper.
You know, I have this too, like just for like magazines and stuff, ripping out
Mhm.
papers and stuff. And I have to go sometimes through it because I don't know where to store this stuff anymore.
Right, it's hard. Sometimes you have to let it go.
But it's interesting too, because if you look through some stuff, like 2 or 3 years later, you're like, which side did I actually like? And you cannot see what actually attracted you to keep that page from this magazine. I was like, what was it? There's like nothing here. So that's a good thing though. Okay, so there's more. That's like one of my favorites too.
Yeah, these were real fun.
They're really fun.
And can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
Awesome. So I'm sorry, I kind of chimed in at the last moment. So I'm sorry, where are you from? You from California?
I am, yeah. I'm a fifth generation Californian, and
Awesome.
been here in LA County for about 3 or 4 generations, depending.
Okay.
So like, you know, I don't know of any other home place other than Southern California.
I'm from the other side of the coast, but
Arizona on one side, but I've been in the Western United States for, I mean, too far back.
well, I'm from the East Coast originally, so I'm from Pennsylvania and Florida.
Nice.
But then I made myself out to New Mexico, but I'm trying to get myself established too as a photographer, and I love your stuff, so I'm interested to take a look at it. So it looks awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And kudos and good luck. Like, you know, the thing about being an artist, and especially an artist in Los Angeles right now, is that you really are your own business person, right? And the more that the early to mid-career artists can think of themselves as operating their own business, the more successful I think you are overall. There's only, you know, so many spaces for the artists in established galleries, right? And the competition for that is super fierce. But there's plenty of art market out there for the taking outside of those spaces.
That's what I'm looking for myself.
And there I go, getting on the art gallery subject.
on the art gallery subject too, I did put the link for Tag Gallery in the chat too.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Eugene. But this is also seriously one of the reasons Eugene and me created this space, just for people that it's hard to get into art galleries. You know, it's hard to be to show. You know, and so this might be a smaller audience too. Obviously, we have to try to find a bigger audience too. But this is just you know, get your art out here. You know, invite your friends.
And you'll build it over time. You know, the like I get the benefit of inheriting nearly 30 years of Tag Gallery operations, right? So I come with a big cudgel behind me when I when I wear my tag hat. And that's because of the work of a bunch of, you know, entrepreneurial artists that came before me.
I have a question for Ryan.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this piece, and the collage piece. What material is that?
So the little moon above me is wallpaper.
And okay.
The blue stripe is a craft paper, a Japanese craft paper. And then the gold stripe is it's a gold paper with a Moroccan style design. A very traditional, the kind of 6-pointed floral design. And it's gold on gold. So it's a yellow colored paper with a gold foil print on it. And then the other pieces there are just the slides. But then the painting itself behind it is, that's a fabric wrapped canvas with acrylic paint, oil, metal foil, wax crayon, glitter, ink. I think that's all that's on that one. But I tend to use a lot of material. Paper is one of my favorite materials across the board. And I love even playing with photograph paper. I find it very interesting how plasticized the paper is. And that it doesn't respond to moisture and glues and paints the way that a porous paper does. So there are really fun things about photo paper that I like, as well as very traditional porous papers. And I tend towards a lot of natural papers, pre-printed natural papers. I like mass-produced things. I like these aren't necessarily super pop culture, although I feel the cranes there would fit in a Japanese pop culture kind of vein. But I do play with things like rainbows and unicorns and cupcakes, and cactuses was big a couple of years ago, so I have a bunch of things with cactus paper. And then one of my big collections, it's not on this one, but incorporated in almost all of my collections in some way, are atlas pages. And I really love a vintage atlas. I have a handful that are from the 50s, 60s, and 70s that I've been cutting up. In fact, I actually need to go start scavenging for more old atlases, because I've used up all of my United States maps, all of them. I have no more maps of the United States available at home. But for me, materiality is really kind of the big joy of art making. What's behind me here in the studio is paper mache letters. So I've pushed those through in a mold to make these word searches. And then I'm currently working, my next collection's basically gonna be plaster. Like literally the whole room is gonna be plaster. And so I'm working on these like plaster shapes, like this, all from different types of molds, and they'll be hanging, they'll be, you know, all sorts of different things. But also I'm playing with these aren't plaster, these are the originals, but I'm playing with these 3-dimensional almost origami style. In fact, their cores are origami folded paper, and then I've covered them with the epoxy clay. But these now I'm manufacturing, I have a little over 100 of them in plaster, and I'm gonna do a gigantic, insane hanging because I'm an insane person who, you know, like there's nothing better than giving yourself a project that says like, make 1,000 of these.
You think big, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the artist problems, right?
That's so great.
There's another one. I really like this one too.
Yeah, I love this one. I really love the figure here with the Arizona desert comes from a calendar, and that was actually a just like a national parks posters calendar. So it's actually from a famous national park poster that most of us would be familiar with. There's some mapping. So this is a scrap, and I feel like this one is like a map of Oklahoma or something like that, if I remember correctly. The framing around the hand is one of my favorite elements in this one. And then the halo motif is something I'm playing a lot with right now. I tend to think of most of my mythological figures in an iconographic way. So the halo appears a lot. But I like to think of the halo as spiritual rather than specifically Christian. Even though very interestingly, and you know, so my degrees are in literature, and I'm focused a lot right now on some colonial fairy tales, and the collection of fairy tales by colonialism actually is a better way to put that. And what you see when that happens is that all of the really great classic collections of fairy tales for the Western world, all of the good characters are good Christians. And then for the Near Eastern world, all of the good characters are good Muslims who praise Allah. And that's literally like you have these two big collections of fairy tale that survived the ages, the Western side and the Muslim side. And the two of them are very, very religiously focused. And very negative to anything that's not their own religion, even though they're telling the stories of people all over the world, which I find fascinating, but also, you know, horribly frightening.
Yeah. Let me advance to the next one.
Oh, we just saw that one.
You saw that one, right? I saw that too. Oh, we are now here. Okay.
Oh, fabulous.
Judy.
Yes. What can I tell you? I am very old fashioned. If I could still be shooting film and had my own darkroom, I'd be doing it.
I'm with you.
But like I said, I went kicking and screaming into digital, and I'm starting to find my way more and enjoying it. And I allow myself now time to take images and just play. What does this look like? What does that look like? And it's very similar to, you know, what Ryan was talking about. But, and I'm also still a black and white shooter, printer. It's my absolute favorite. And I went, Candace, yeah? Question? I'm up for
no. We've had that conversation before, you know, love black and white.
I think it's classic. I think it's timeless. I started out when I was, my God, what, 10 or 11, finding books of George Hurrell and the portraiture that he would do. And I was fascinated by the lighting and the black and white. I fell in love with it. So he was my reason to go to Art Center and learn lighting. And I'd been shooting since I was in grammar school. And when I got into high school, my first year, so freshman year, the attendance officer of our school happened to be an actor of all things. And he was producing a play at the local playhouse and needed a photographer. and he came to the photography class, and of course raised my hand. I had no clue what he needed or how I was going to do it, but I just wanted to do it. And the play was The Boyfriend, and from the first rehearsal, I was freaking hooked. I had some sort of, I must have been a dancer or somehow in music, seriously in music, in a different life, because I had the ability to anticipate and to always capture the peak moment. And that was a thrill. And I will tell you this, I got into photography to begin with, seriously got into it, and chose to get a 35 millimeter and to take the photography class my freshman year in high school because of Anne Margaret. Now, some of you know who she is and some of you don't. You might be too young. But she, yeah, you raise your hand if you know. Yay. Oh, good. Okay. So I always thought that she was incredibly talented, incredibly sweet. And I didn't like a lot of what I saw out there on her, but this was after I knew who she was. Prior to this, remember, I don't know if anybody remembers the old photo play magazines. It was, yeah, it's like our People and Us now. But I was going through the photo play magazine, and there were 3 photographs of this woman on stage. And one of them was her holding a microphone, and that was when they had a cord. And she had the long mane of hair, and she was in this tight sequin gown. And she's looking down, and she would do this mouth thing like this. And she was obviously in the middle of a song. And the caption read, "She's so good, she makes you shiver." And the energy from each hand to her face just was a continual circle. And I couldn't take my eyes off of this photo. I still have it. And at that particular moment, I decided I wanted to be a photographer, and I wanted to capture people doing what they do best so I could share it with others. So that's the fun part about taking people now who are beginning their craft, beginning their journey, don't even know fully what they're capable of, like I said before. And I can spot it, see it, and it's so much fun to bring it out. It is so much fun. So,
beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
So that's why I do what I do. This gentleman here, I love this shot with the arms out, and I think it's incredibly apropos and a perfect fit for what's happening in the world today. And I call it Behold a New Beginning. And he had given himself a new beginning. This was someone who was incredibly involved in gangs, drugs, jail, everything that should have killed him, but didn't. And he found the grace of God and turned his life around and started youth groups for those that he used to run the streets with, and saved a lot of lives. And this was the most talented, sweet, gentle, loving, amazing man. This is when we had an incredible shoot, and this is one of my favorite shots of him. I scanned this because I shot Hasselblad 2 1/4 pretty much exclusively. So this was an 8x10 print that I scanned. And the more I played with it, the more it had an old look and feel, and was grainy and not sharp, and had some scratches and dust on it. And it's, when I look at it, I'm transported to a period of time that I can't quite put my finger on, but feels like a past life trying to come up and be shared with me, a memory of some sort. So I'm really drawn to it for a number of reasons, but I really like the look of this as a 17x22 print, because it sort of looks like a sketch. It sort of looks like a painting.
Painting, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not perfect. And that's the thing I love about it, is that it is perfect in its imperfection. And it just has a classic senseless timing feel to me. I can't put it in a period. I don't know, but it captures my imagination and my eye.
No, I love this piece. One of the things that I get from it is embracing an unwritten future.
Oh my God, Eugene, that's beautiful. And that fits perfectly with the title. Oh,
Yeah, this, I have to say, Judy, this and a number of your pieces, I really, really love how you create these painterly effects in the photograph. It's just really, really wonderful and masterful because, you know, as somebody who looks at a lot of art, I feel like I have some things to say about it. And it's really special when you can create an artwork that in this case is a photograph, and you know it's a photograph, but it makes you wonder, how did they manipulate their photograph in order to make it into something that's more than a photograph? And I think that, you know, this and a handful of these others that we see too are just really, really exceptional examples of that. And I just love them.
thank you so much.
I have to agree with this. For me, it's like a two-way process too. The first one is just looking at the image itself, you know, what it says. And like Eugenia was like, just perfect what you said. For me, it's also right now, it's like, I am so, what's going on in this country right now, you know? It's like, and I know we have hope because we hopefully count all these votes and it will be a democratic outcome, right? But also there's such a disappointment in me as an immigrant coming here 20 years ago for, you know, something, and then seeing that still 60 million people in this country are, excuse my language, freaking racists, is so disappointing to me too. And this somehow brings this in this moment all together for me. And I don't know how, but it's just such a strong feeling, such a strong image for me. It's just like this reaching out to, you know. And then the second part is the process of what Ryan was even saying too. You know, the thing is, like, it does look like a painting. That's what I said. You know, when I looked at it the first time, was like, oh, this is actually, oh, it is. You know, what is it? It's like in between, but it's like there's so much thought and work into when you, first of all, when you create a photograph anyway, you know, but then also you're taking it to the dark room. This time it's a digital dark room, and then you start manipulating and doing this and this. And I'm sure there's probably 10 versions of this photo before you came to that. But this is like what talked to you in this moment, you know, and it might, I don't know, it might even change in 10 years. But right now, this is what it is. And it's just the process. It's almost the process of somebody would paint something, and you paint something digitally as a photographer, but you go into, you know, this creative process. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, the power that you're talking about is actually the power of this man. It just oozed out of every freaking pore of him. He was truly incredible. He was unique and very, very special. And he found his power. He was a singer. He was an amazing athlete. He had 0 body fat. He worked on his health. He was incredible. And it's such a story of how he started. Sorry, adjusting the ice pack. Here I am.
But you can feel all this. That's what I'm saying too. It's just really amazing because whatever you just said, it actually comes over too. You can see it and you feel that.
Yeah.
That's great.
To me, when I look at it, I see somebody that took time and took a pencil and sketched this. It to me, it has a different look to it. It looks like somebody sat there and sketched this man with a pencil. Because to me, it's so perfect, and I can see the dimensions in every aspect. But then I see the white light of it, and I see him. It looks like he's embracing the world.
Yes.
Because he just has the way his hands are reached out and reaching that white light. It's amazing. And like I said, I see it as a black and white pencil sketch, and just the details of the shadows and everything to me is amazing.
Thank you. It just feels so strong, especially with what's happening now.
Mhm.
You know, he's just welcoming, he's ingratiating, he's powerful, he's benevolent, he's love. I mean, there's something I don't know. And I'm not talking about it as a photograph. I'm still stuck on the man. So
Yeah.
But I also have to say, looking at this too, and as a lesbian, I appreciate that this is a damn sexy man. I mean, it's a damn sexy photo.
I gotta say that, you know, I mean, um, the one thing that I love about Judy's works is, and her pieces, is the way that she plays with lights and shadows and all of that in the camera. You know, I remember being a young a young lesbian in the 90s when these calendars started coming out, and you know, I bought every single one, and Judy has inspired me to way back then pick up a camera. You know, because of the way that she plays with light and the way that she you know, gets the shadows. It's almost like, you know, I've done a lot of work with a 4x5, and you know, with a 4x5, everything is upside down, and you're not really looking at the subject as much as you are looking at the light, you know, the positives and the negatives. And that's, you know, that's what really captures me with Judy's work. You know, I love it. Everything that you've shot, it's just been like, I want to be, you know, mini me.
that's so sweet. That's because of Pharrell. I was the nerdiest kid. I mean, from the moment I knew what a camera was and I could do something with it, I just studied and read and pored over stuff. And when I got my first 35, I was the happiest person in the entire world. So it was.
Well,
I'm sorry.
and doing things, Judy, I'm sorry, and doing things, you know, back then, in the dark room, you know. I mean, I grew up in a dark room, and being able not only to play with light and a camera, but also, you know, in the dark room. And it just, I just love your work. So
I tell you, I started out shooting, like I said, movement, dance, photographing that the boyfriend play. Then I became known around Thousand Oaks, Newbury Park, Westlake Village. That's what I did. I shot all college plays and musicals and everything at the local playhouses, and that was my love, was shooting dance and stage and theater to begin with. And my parents always encouraged me. I have to say, I was blessed to have them as my parents. I went to USC and decided that I wanted to pursue photography seriously. And they said, okay. And this was at a time when not very many women at all were doing this. And they had no idea how I was going to make a living, and neither did I. And sometimes I still wonder. They said, okay, pick your school. And I picked Art Center. And I picked Art Center specifically because I felt that in any natural light setting, stage, venue, I could compete with any professional photographer and capture what was happening as well, if not better than anybody. But I wanted to learn the lighting like Pharrell. I wanted to learn studio lighting. And that was the reason for going to Art Center. And I ate it up. And I was an unusual student because at that time, it was all about commercial work. It was about food shots. It was about car shots. It was a commercial to get a studio and do commercial work and get clients for advertising, basically. So everything that I shot revolved around people, everything. And half of the instructors loved me and half really wanted me out of their class. It was hysterical. And fortunately, I had 3 instructors who knew what I was doing, understood my vision, understood my eye, and they encouraged me. And that was awesome. So anything that had to do with portraiture or movement. They would have the crit board every week. You turn in all your assignments, and half the time my board would go flying across the room and the instructor was barely able to keep me in class. And the other half of the time, literally every single week, I would have an image that was displayed as the best of that week. So I was I'm shit, I'm awesome, I'm really pathetic, no, I'm pretty good. It was just, it was a time, I'll tell you, but I had a love, and I had something that was driving me, and something that was inside that I knew it was okay to push to bring that out, even if it hadn't been seen or known before. So, and I think that's part of what made me more introverted, but also in some ways more able to reach out and connect with others and find what was special in them that nobody could see or appreciate, to reflect back to them how wonderful they were. I don't know. I'm still, psychologically figuring it out, but I've been really blessed, and I've been so blessed that the work has been received like it has been. These I love. I have to say, it's at the end of a long shooting day for commercial stuff. Many years back, I had rented a studio downtown with a psych.
Oh,
And these were shots we took at the very, very end as they were hustling us out of there. And it just, I had models that trusted me implicitly and had no clue what I was seeing through the camera, but went with it. And we just got some amazing stuff.
I'm sorry. Somehow I hit my keyboard and got out of it. But I should be able to go back. What I want to do, but I want to, not sure why I cannot. Events right now.
Judy, I gotta just say that you are awesome.
Look at my button.
Oh, Heidi.
Just
Thank
love
you so much. I am so happy to see that face. My God.
it.
I'm so glad you're here.
I know, huh? Oh, thank you for the invite. That's very nice.
Oh, here we go.
Let me go. I have to, it's a little bit hard to navigate. Hold on. Let me do something else. Let's do, I'm gonna figure this out, okay? And you guys gonna keep talking, and then
Chat amongst ourselves.
yeah, in the meantime, let me figure this out here.
Judy,
Yes.
currently, what are you doing now with your photography? What do you?
Right at the moment. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've created anything. This was a year. I don't know. This is a familiar story, I'm sure. The energy felt incredible for 2020, and I was booked solid through October, Candace. And I was working on my third coffee table book, and it was really, I felt for the first time in a long time, just this incredible creative burst, and that everything had opened up. So it's funny that it was exactly the opposite. And so I haven't done much, honestly. I'm tearing apart my place. I'm going through box after box and making no room. Caruso and I can barely walk in here, but it needs to be done. And I think that's going to free up the energy even more for the next 2021. I want to do my dance project. I want to get back to my first love. I want to photograph couples dancing, and I want to do every couple combination there is. I want people in wheelchairs. I want those missing a limb. I want every imaginable combination to show that you still can dance, you still can find joy, you can still find love, and you can live your life beyond to the fullest, and capture that beauty. And that's where one of the images as we'll move on, I'll talk about. That was
I would love to talk to you further about the dance project, because I'm a dancer and I'm now involved with Desert Movement Arts. I'll send you a link.
Great.
And we're a collaborative feminist improvisation dance movement group. And we have a very diverse collective and group of us. So I'm so intrigued. I've always loved your work, and I've been a dancer for many, many years and involved in mostly improvisation. So
I'd love that. That would be
yeah, I'm just, you know, I've always been a fan of your work. I love the textures. I love there's so many different emotions in you can go so many I mean, there's so much in each image that you can take to so many different levels of emotion. Yeah, it's just so interesting.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know what, one of the most fun parts for me, it's also one of the most nerve-wracking, is coming up with a title. And
Yes.
right, Connie?
Yes, I understand that. Could you talk a little bit about more the work, maybe the artwork right now? Because like the general stuff we can maybe do.
Sure. Again, this is just a classic black and white. This was a very willing subject who happened to work at 10% Productions, and she begged me to photograph her, and I wanted to do something that was much more of a throwback to the 1900s and wasn't as pristine. I wanted to shoot soft, almost French postcard kind of stuff, and I didn't know what that would look like. But then I thought, no, let me combine that with my version of the Kama Sutra. And I shot with a Holga plastic camera. Yeah, and didn't care. I mean, I was not the technical fiend, you know, that I typically would be. And that was very freeing, super fun. This image, I don't know if you can see this. Where's my hand? That one was one of the ones from that series. And in fact, that whole Kama Sutra series was my last full-on gallery show in Provincetown before they closed their doors at that gallery. So anyway, that body of work I just love. That was really special.
Mm-hmm.
So this was one of them. And that's classic. That's just classic. That's one of my favorites. That's one of my early favorites that I think will always stand the test of time with me. And it was just a moment. It was in between what we had planned, and I was like, wait, hold on. And yeah, and I love those moments that are spontaneous, you know.
Yeah, that is. I think it's like one of the classic lesbian ones too. They're like, you know, that's the one, you know.
I have
some kiss.
I'm sorry?
So was the kiss.
This one's called Grand Prize.
Okay. And the back bend?
And back bend, yep. That was one of the very first. And the kiss,
that was my
yes.
favorite. That was when I first saw that, I'm like, I love black and white. I loved everything about it. So that was my first focus when I saw that. And that was hanging above my bed.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Yeah.
Is this actually also digital, or did you go black film too?
This was one of my first digital.
Okay.
With my very, very first digital camera. Okay. Yeah, I forced myself.
How large is the piece that we're looking at that's displayed in the gallery? How large are these pieces?
I print on 17 by 22 because that's as big as my printer will go. This was that dancer that I was telling you about. This was her celebration for turning 50. And I called this one orison, and I don't know if anybody knows what that word means. Anybody?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What I titled this piece orison,
Orison.
and I didn't know if anybody knew the definition of that word, or if you could surmise or have any ideas based on what's happening here with her feet. And the whole idea of this is how we connect with each other, with whatever gets us through the day and through our life. God, Goddess, all that is, a higher power, Jesus, whatever it is we choose, and how individual it is to connect. Nobody will understand at times what it is that we do to stay grounded, centered, above losing our shit, so to speak. And if you look at her feet, to me, she looks like she's praying.
Mhm.
And that's what orison means, prayer. So this is just, for me, one of my personal favorites. So I was getting tired of people telling me that my work was too sweet. So this is the most tame out of a series that I had, but I love it because to me, it looks like a statue that you'd see in Rome.
I think it's very beautiful, and I remember I just want to mention this because we are after all in America, and we have Ryan and we have Judy, playing their stuff. So I had to check with the gallery. I was like, "Hey, how are you guys on nudity and on all these things?" And they just texted me back. They're like, "We're Germans." I was like, "Okay." So it's a German website. You can do whatever you want.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
They were just so rude. I was like, okay. They're like, what are you talking about? You can do whatever you want. We're Germans. I mean, it's a German website. Just
That's hysterical. Well, I remember with Connie, I kept sending her stuff and saying, just let me know. I'll change anything out that's too much in your face. And she's like, it can't be. There's no such thing as too much in my face. I'm German too.
So funny, it didn't even cross my mind that the website would have an issue. The only thing that crossed my mind was, well, I guess I'm not going to be showing my images on Facebook.
Yeah, it's the Facebook and the Instagram, but I think it's mostly when people report you that this happens. So, but I wasn't sure. So with the website too, it was, so I wanted to make sure that works.
Well, I had an experience years back where the Gay and Lesbian Center asked me to donate a piece for a fundraiser. And mind you, I had already had 2 shows there of my work. And I turned in a piece that showed a woman sideways and you could see her breast on the side, and they banned it and wouldn't accept the piece.
Oh my God.
And this is the Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian Center. Now, and I had, like I said, I'd had showings there already. And I'd been to other showings and by male artists. And of course they were full frontal with, and I thought, how is the side of a woman's breast so offensive or so precious? I had no idea, but I was shocked, absolutely shocked. And I didn't really discuss it.
Because they knew your work.
Totally knew my work.
On top of that, and it's a gay and lesbian center. Like
Right.
That too.
art in that sense has always been in your face and out there. So like what changed that? That seems weird.
And I was so shocked that, and I should have pursued it. And I should have had articles written about it because it to this day, I'm thinking that is so hypocritical and what a shame. So anyway, and that's one of the reasons I started the Women with Women series. You didn't see anything that was sensual and uplifting of women together, loving each other. All you saw were spread eagle, shot by men for, Penthouse, Playboy, what were the other magazines? I don't even know. So, yeah. Anyway, this was fun. This was shot on a beach in Provincetown.
Yeah, I was thinking like I'm just gonna forward a little bit.
Yeah, please,
So,
please,
show
please.
all
Okay,
of
so
our-
this is the one.
Talk about it more.
This is the one that I love. This is I played with this. And everything for me has so many different levels. So this was just a moment and had sat in my files for years. This was shot on film. Again, I scanned an 8x10 and didn't care about how pristine it was. And the less pristine it was, the better. And I kept coming back to it and kept coming back to it and kept coming back to it. And I realized, like I said, the layers. I'd love to hear opinions of what it means to you, what you see, what this brings up for you before I continue. If anybody has any thoughts.
The composition is really strong and it feels like a balancing act.
Yeah, it's like a push and pull.
Uh-huh.
I just really I like the tension.
Mhm.
You know.
I see the dominance, but I see the femininity. Like you can see the strength, but a lot of feminine features within it. And I just like the contrast with the dark background and the lighting just captures so much.
Could be also somebody is running away or is trying to escape and she doesn't let her go. She's clinging on to her.
So the title of this is The Real Dance Begins. So for me, it's all about intimacy. You can sleep with anybody, but what do you do after that? What's the connection? How deep does it go? What does it bring up inside of you where you do want to run, but you can't because it's worth staying? So that was the whole point of that. You guys nailed it.
Well, I think, after you explained the title, it's really interesting to see the perspective of opening up to that intimacy. And then after, it's like going back in, but not really exposing, but holding back. There's so many aspects to the shape and the resistance and the passive aggressive kind of feel to it in a physical way, but yet it's very strong emotionally. It's almost brings me to tears, really. It's so strong.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Visually, for some reason, I'm there are certain images that I find more and more layers in. Like I said earlier, the more I put it away and then come back to it, and this one stays really strong for me. And it's the idea of the work that I want to continue to do, the dance series.
They kind of give me a feel that I mean this as a compliment, like a feminine side of Mapplethorpe, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Because of the light and dark play with
It
it.
really
and the
is. It really
sensuality
is.
of it.
That's really true. There's some images there. They complement each other actually. Yeah.
huh, interesting. I have never been compared to Mapplethorpe before, but what a compliment. I used to be called the female version of Herb Ritz.
Oh, nice.
and that was lovely too, but yeah.
But I think the Herb Ritz is more vulgar, and you are more aesthetically. It's different. I think
You mean Mapplethorpe is more
towards Mapplethorpe than Ritz. I think Ritz is more. It's more raw to me. More. I don't know. There's more beauty in your photos to me.
Thank you.
But
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like everybody can see different. That's the beauty of art. Everybody sees different things in it, and it's like it's just beautiful. We all see different things.
True. That's very
I
true.
kind of see playfulness there. Playfulness, gentleness, and trust.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the vulnerability, the
Yeah.
vulnerability of giving yourself to somebody,
Yeah.
like completely,
Yeah.
there's no resistance down there.
Yeah.
This one was fun.
That looks like fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. And this was at the end. And the end, when she was tearing it off, I was like, stop, wait, okay, wait, let me get my camera. And then she just continued. And this was my favorite shot from the entire shoot.
Is this the same model with the having the bra on the
No.
No. Okay.
No, complete. Yeah, no, this is a different one. But, and again, the thought is, she's tearing this stuff off. It's the same as the woman that was on her tummy. You saw the buns and her ankles were tied. That one was titled Set Free. This one is titled Torn Together.
What's the medium you use? Is that latex?
That was latex, yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
Was that in Provincetown?
That was in the show in Provincetown, but we shot that here. I had
Okay.
been working in Beverly Hills with a magazine called Bent Magazine. And so I had enough space in that office to make a makeshift studio. And boy,
Yeah.
that was fun working with latex with no ventilation. Holy smokes. Ugh.
Okay, let's go here.
That's the same model, the woman who, for her birthday, did a shoot. And she was willing to do anything, which was great. The whole series, I mean, we shot so much, it was amazing. And then this young man, wish I had put a portrait in of him. It was fascinating as we went through the day, and this turned into a 5-hour shoot, and it flew by like that. But in the process, we did different headshots and portraits. And in one, when I saw the result, it looked like him at age 35. It looked like it was a preview of who he was going to be when he grew up and became a man.
Oh, wow.
And it was mind-blowing. Yeah, it was really special. But like I said, I love capturing emotion. I love movement. I love how somebody expresses themselves. I love the freedom that, I can get people to allow themselves to give to me. And I think maybe that's because I'm much more inhibited and was a painfully shy kid. So.
Okay. There we go.
Ta-da. Thank you guys. That was fun.
That was very good. Very, very good.
Thank you, Eugene and Connie. It's like such a joy to be able to have something to focus on and to put a little bit of fun and art into through all of this.
Yeah.
Thought too, it would be actually nice. Really, we want to do this once a month with different artists and show art and also have like a happy hour on Fridays.
I love it.
That's awesome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Judy,
Yes, thank
it's so
you.
good. So good to see your face, girl.
Thank you so much for being here.